We're live with John and Ron tonight, Garage Cleaning Talk every Wednesday. I want to say something first about the prizes. We are going to give this away tonight, but because of the fall break, I was a little premature in the hose reel giveaway. It will happen, though, next week. I couldn't give it away this week because Marco Raimondo from Washmart is actually going to be the guy giving those away, and we have to do a proper promotion for him. The reason I'm wearing this mask, guys, is I want to talk about this for just a second. SidewalkCleaners.com. You may want to go check that out over there. That thing's going to be big one day. It's going to be huge. And I want to tell you about these masks from Sub Effects that you can get custom for your company. Look at this, man. The one thing that I wish the restaurant industry would wear is I wish that they would get these masks because they are adjustable, so they would quit messing with them when they're trying to serve me dinner. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. And it's adjustable, man, and it fits up tight, and you won't. Don't you love it at dinner? They're like this, John, right? They're talking to you like this, and then they're like, "Let me touch my nose and my face," and okay, would you like some more butter or some more garlic? Anyways, crazy. John, what's going on tonight?
Not much. We're moving along. Sub Effects, they're doing masks for me. I just want to show you guys fast. My spelling is spelled incorrectly. We're working on this tonight. We're going to have like a bluish color. But I want everybody, I'm getting quite a few of these because I'm not a mask person. Who is? But, I'm going to be in Phoenix, Arizona with, very nice. I'm going to be in, good grief. I'm going to be in Phoenix, Arizona with Ron and the crew, Craig Harrison. And, you got to wear the mask walking into a building. It's what is in New York. I know people say I don't wear the mask, but you got to go by the rules. Once you're in place, you sit down, you take it off. And she's also made me some masks too that, I got this one from her.
Jim's in the green room showing me a mouse pad. I think.
Hey, look, Sub Effects. Sub Effects. She gave me this. She has no idea who I'm voting for, but she gave me that mask. So they're really, really good. But let me just say about my class, Ron. As you know, we have 35 people just about paid already.
35 people? What's your record, John? What is the record?
Well, this is interesting because I never asked to do these things. I got asked to do these things. Ron told me to come out to Phoenix. I'm like, what? I have family out there, so I was like, okay. But the huge convention, my biggest class in there was the most profitable class I ever had by far. Was 43 people in there. But that's an event that gets promoted for a year, and there's over 1,000 people there. Craig Harrison's event's very tight. Craig was telling me the other day he's up to 100 people already, probably more now. So we're going to probably get 50 people in my class alone. Craig's going to have to do something because he's going to probably get 150, 200 people at this event. And I think this event every year, Ron, as you know, is going to be huge. So we're going to have a lot of people coming to my class. Craig already told me because the magic number, I think, is 5 more I can sell. And 107.
Today, 107. Craig's event is
107 people. Craig did tell me, because his event is the 13th. I love Friday the 13th. I'm not suspicious, so I think that's great. I love that. We're at the Hilton Hotel, people. The tree, whatever they call it, the Hilton Hotel.
Doubletree.
What is it?
Doubletree.
Yeah, Doubletree. And beautiful hotel. You guys can check it out on the net. And it's $99 for the freaking room. $99 room block. But anyway, the 14th, when his ends at 12 o'clock, I'm doing my class at 1 o'clock. I got the King of Sales, Ron, in there. And Craig told me that, this classroom size to fit our classes, my class, the only paid class there. But if need be, we could take the ballroom, the main room, and we could space everybody apart. Because the one thing me and Ron and Craig don't want to do, we're not renegades. We're not going to go in there. We're not going to break all the rules and everything else to get the hotel jam. We're going to follow protocol, but we all sit down. Everybody have a mask for my class, and a custom hat. We all sit down. We take the mask off. As long as we get together, everything is good. But getting in there, we're going to follow the rules, and it's going to be a great event. The weather is perfect, so I'm looking forward to it, Ron. And Ron told me, he goes, John, you're coming to Phoenix. And Ron says, you and I together, we could probably get 40, 50 people in an event that's only going to have 150 people, and here we are.
I told you we would, man.
You did.
John, do me a favor. And let's talk a little bit before we bring Mr. James in. Do a proper introduction to James. Tell everybody how we know James, when we met James. I met him. He reminded me in 2005 at the
ACR
Round Table. I think probably when you ran into the menu board at Sonic, that was like 2009.
Yeah, we won't go there, but John was supposed to be a designated driver. What happens? But yeah, I was on the PWA board in 2004, and I went. That was around 2005 and 6. I did meet Jim Vanhandel there, and I met Ron. I knew Ron. I know you 7-8 years already, but we met there. I actually met Ron's brother before I met Ron. He came to my house in 2002. That was a great event. We all met each other, and yeah, I got to tell you, just to throw this at you guys. I played guitar for 50 years. I suck at it, but I seen Eddie Van Halen for many 3 or 4 times. I also seen him in 2007 and 2015 when he already had the throat cancer or mouth cancer. Guy's great. He's since passed, but Ron for years called Jim Vanhandel. You know, we used to talk about Jeff LaCour. He had like 1 truck in the trailer, maybe 2 trucks. Jim's got a massive amount of flatbeds. He's got great setups. He is the condo king. My company, my small company, actually worked for his company. He subbed us out to a few things because he gets so much work. But I've known Jim for about 15 years, and we correspond almost every day, him and I. So it's a great guy. And I hope we're going to run through the New Jersey thing next year and Vegas. That's why we're in the hat. Whatever we're going to do in the future, Jim comes along because Jim is a massive knowledge, and he runs a great company. He's just an all-around rock solid person.
Man, I sure hope he does. Well, hey, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and bring Jim in, and then let's let Jim. We've told you a little bit about Jim. How you doing, Jim? You let us know, Jim. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm just a normal guy. I've been in business for a little while. I run a tight crew, I hope. It's hard to talk about myself. I'm pretty humble. It's not all about me. And, my company is they do all the work, really. They hire right people for the right seats and get it done. But I started this company quite a few years back. Never thought it'd be where it is today. But we met some good people, went to some conventions, talked to the right people, and put it all together. Kept going, put my head down, kept going. Quit listening to everybody else tell me not to do what they wanted me to do, and just did it anyway. Maybe you want to call it a rebel? No. I was like a rhinoceros, just put my head down and kept going. And you give good service, and the work comes to you. Anyway,
you mentioned something though, Jim, and I'm gonna let you finish. But before you go somewhere, you came on and you said, the company's not about you. You said that, and then you said in this almost the same breath, and where I want to go with this is when did you learn that choosing the talents and knowing how to place people where they were best at, how long did that take you? Because I know you've done it, okay? And you can explain to people, maybe if you can remember back that far, when did that epiphany, like, oh my gosh, I've been trying to force people to do things they don't want to do, and I got to stop that. I got to find if a guy's good squirting the house and rinsing, you put him rinsing. If a woman doesn't want to be on the phone for you in the office, you get her off the phone, right? And you find another
seat in your company. Mm-hmm. There's many seats in the company. You find her seat, what she likes to do, and what she enjoys. When did that happen? I'm going to say around the 6th year mark, if that's what you were looking for in my company.
There was no right answer. I mean,
I'm thinking in my head.
About 11 years. It took me 11.
About six years. After that, I had to find these people. if I didn't find these people. I can't do it all myself. You can't be on every estimate. You can't be on every job and fixing equipment and things like that. So once we found those people, and let me tell you, it's hard to find those people. Once you do, you put them in the right seat. They love their job. They'll do anything for the company, and you got a golden team if you can put all that together. Like John, he doesn't really have to go out on the job site. Neither do I. All the systems are in place now. Everybody's in their own seats. I got operations managers. I got salespeople, and I oversee just the numbers basically at the end. It all works.
How many people don't equate running a business like the Yankees ran a world championship team? You know what I mean? I mean, you go out there and you find the talent, then you got to be able to, you got to be able to support the talent for them to be successful, though, right? I mean, you got to be able to do that. If you can't do that, they can't be successful, right?
No, they need training. They need guidance. And I always say it's like a football team. We're like a giant football team. Okay. I'm the owner. We have a coach, and we have players. Each player has their own job. Okay. You got a quarterback, and then you got all the other people that do their job just as great. And if it all works, you're going to win a championship.
Yeah.
I tell my operations managers when I see them out in the field with a wand in their hand, and I'll pull them to the side and I'll tell them, you don't see the coach of a football team going out there throwing the ball. You can't manage by doing it. You can't. You have to oversee it and teach.
You sleeping, John?
No. You know what? As I'm listening to Jim, the people are like, John, don't you ever do anything? You're on Facebook. And I'm working. We're actually working. Check this out, Ron. Look at this. Look where we are now. This came over on my. I'm working with Christy White as I'm listening to Jim.
Nice.
So, yeah. So we took. So look, in the matter of minutes.
Did she spell it turtle bean?
Well, you know what? No, Keith from KBK did that, which I used to have an account with him. So we went for this. So Jim's talking. I'm listening. I heard everything he said about the football coach, and now we are here. So guys don't realize that I'm not a kind of guy that sits around and does nothing. Like, hey, John, don't you ever do anything on Facebook 3 hours a day? I'm always moving. I'm always doing something. So as I'm listening to Jim, he's right. You're the coach of the team. A lot of guys, a lot of owner operators. I was one. I don't know if Jim was. I was an owner operator for a few years, and you think you're the best there is. But then think about like a baseball mindset. Mike Trout, who's from I think Philadelphia, down by Jim. He comes into baseball, and we are older people now. There's better people out there than us that can do this work. We got to be able to manage the work. So, with Jim this is why Jim's company is so much bigger than most people I know, because he can manage all that. And Jim goes to Aruba, right, Jim? Am I wrong? You go to Aruba, the company's running.
I went 3 weeks last year in the middle of July.
Yeah. So you're always doing something too. So
July's our busiest season. So
hey Jim, without disclosing the numbers, Jim, what are you running like on an average? Are you running 5 crews, 10 crews? What are you doing during busy season?
Busy season, we're running 7 crews. We have the ability to run 9. We have backups for all that as well. A few extra trailers just in case they go down. There's never any downtime. So we don't like to be any more than a month out. Once we get a month out, we'll pull another crew in to lighten that load. We were running 7 crews this year, all year long. We're still running 5 today. Large projects still going on.
Well, you know why, Jim? See, Jim knows his numbers. You have to know your numbers. You have to know what's profitable. Is it like sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you guys, sometimes I have my crew out there that I might not make a lot of money. I really won't. I keep them all busy all the time. So just recently, they went out 3 days in a week. It's the first time all year they only went out 3 days. Then we're going out 6. I do have 5 to 7 days a week, but I know my numbers. I know what's profitable. I know what works for my company. And some days I might not make a lot of money, and I could almost break even. That's rare, but I could break even. But the crews out there, because I know what my operational cost, and Jim knows his numbers like the back of his hand, so he knows. I talk, Jim. We talk like every day, right? Every day.
Every day.
Every day. And when I went to the ACR Round Table, Jim and I were at back in January, I think it was, or February, beginning of the year, before COVID hit. Tom Vogel and Barbara Vogel, they own ACR Products. They wanted guys with 10 or more years in there. And this is what, I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm always honest, but when I went there, Tom DeFrancesco was there. A lot of guys there. These guys had 10, 20 years in the industry. And when Jim spoke at this round table, it was actually round, it was a square table. You know what I mean? So we had it set up like a square. And when Jim was talking, I'm just sitting next to Tom DeFrancesco, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy knows his stuff. And we were listening. So that's good to know. And then Jim showed many pictures of his company. I've seen all his flatbeds. I've actually worked for his company in the past, my company. So he's so vetted that, if we can get Jim to do one of these classes, fill it up.
I got something that I think Jim wants to talk about. And I don't know if he's going to be clear on how to talk about it or illustrate it. But you mentioned something when we were in the green room about so many of these guys don't know what their value, what they might be worth. They probably don't know how to charge for the jobs properly. What would be some advice to, and here's the problem with this, Jim. You've been around and you know what you're doing. And I know that methodically, because I met you early on, I saw the mindset that you had. You knew that the production rate, you knew that all those costs, you were eager to find out a system of whatever it was by science that you knew that you could bid a job and never get hurt ever again, never misquote, never lose money. And I don't believe that most of the industry, even guys that we've known for 20 years, some of them are still out there eyeballing stuff.
They throw a dart at a board.
Yeah, it's eyeball. And I always tell them, I said, how are you going to replicate your eyeball? Are you going to take that thing out and give it to your, sales staff to go out and look at houses, or look at properties? I mean, and so I've showed you in the green room. I've done little sketches. I've made stupid little videos. Let me hear let's hear how you would explain this to anybody that's not doing it. I don't even want to say new people, because there's so many veterans out there that need this information.
Oh yeah.
Well, no matter how you bill your clients, you first need to figure out how much to charge, even if you charge a fixed fee for the whole project. Some people charge by the hour, some people charge by the day. I don't know what they charge. You can charge whatever. You can't determine how much your fixed rate is going to be unless you know how long or how many man hours it's going to take to do that project. You got to figure all this stuff out.
That's right.
I mean, if you're experienced in the field, you know this stuff. That's the first thing. It's experience, getting experience in the field. You're going to work for 2-3 years to find out what your production rate is on everything. Document everything. How long it takes to wash concrete. How long it takes to wash a house. How long it takes to wash a big building. I don't know. Anything you wash. Trucks. I don't know, whatever it is. You got to figure that out, document it, write it down. And consistently write that down so you know it's going to take, and you come in with, every house is not the same, but a lot of houses are cookie cutter houses and they're going to cost about the same amount of price. So you figure it out. Hour wise, it takes you 2 hours, maybe 2 hours to wash a house, and you just put all those hours in. But
there's my house.
Asking.
And I always tell guys, this is a shopping center. Nobody can probably see
Mom,
it.
put it closer to the camera. I can't see it.
It's a shopping center. It's my little sketch of a shop.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
That's a Kroger, and then there's the shops
Right.
on the other side. Guys call me all the time and go, Ron, this place is 50,000 square feet. How much should I charge? One, I don't know if they're a gold medalist or if they couldn't qualify for the Olympics, okay? Because I'm here to tell you that when you're talking about this production rate, it's about your ability to perform, isn't it? I mean, and all of those things, all those in play. So if they can clean at my rate, I could tell them the price, and I always tell them that. And I always tell them, here's how you can go figure out your production rate really quick. Go out and do a small section, see how many square feet that takes you in a half an hour, divide that number in by the rest of the project, and you've got somewhere in the ballpark. It's good. It's what it's going to take you somewhere. Now, there's a lot of other variables: water, moving, trouble you're going to have, brakes, all these other things, that logistics that come into play. But at least if you go out there and clean a small section, you're going to have a closer estimated time of what it's really going to take.
In my arena, the condos, we go out. Well, let me back up a little bit. We had to find out exactly what our total expenses were for the entire year. How many man hours it took to make our total, and break that down. So if you add all your expenses up, total them all out, okay? Come up with that number, which is going to scare you. Break that down. You can break it all the way down to an hour, what the cost is, and that's your break-even cost. So now you have to put in your profit. But make sure you got to put in your salary, your wife's salary, or whoever else works for you. Their salary's in there as well. So you may come up with a number. I don't know. I think we had 20,000 something hours last year, man hours. So we take our total costs and we break that down, and we know exactly how much to charge per hour or day per crew that's out there. So if you take that, if you can figure that out and plug those numbers in per day, it's just easy. It's science. It's easy math. I heard somebody on a show recently saying, I pulled up to this lady's house and, they had a Mercedes and a big house, and I knew I could overcharge them. That really got to me, and that's not consistency. That's not consistency at all. That's another thing I wanted to talk about later is consistency. But once you get your numbers down, first you got to find out your total costs of the company, everything, gas, everything. Break that down. You'll know exactly what those numbers are and plug them in along the way. If those numbers don't work for the customer, they're not going to work for us either. So we just keep moving on. If we're too high, we're too high. We lose a project. That's fine. Because I wouldn't have made any money doing it if I lowered the pricing. So I just don't. We're at that point now that we can just move on and go to the next project. And that brings consistency into it.
Mm-hmm.
When if your numbers are consistent throughout the year, consistent throughout the projects, consistent throughout the project managers and property managers. It's funny now that we're starting to get property managers, they don't even ask for numbers. They just want to get on the schedule. They know our numbers. They don't change throughout the year. They know what we're going to charge per day.
Oh my gosh. They know your numbers.
They know my numbers.
Hey,
anybody can find out my numbers.
I taught a class, and a guy was it was condos, and the guy didn't understand this. This is a really good one because this is you're gonna like this because this gets into where these guys lower their shorts. He was bidding multiple projects, and he lowered his shorts on the first one. And you know as well as I do, that established his rate on every door, on every other one.
Right.
Because what a lot of people don't understand, and I don't know if you use door pricing or not, but a lot of times when they're figuring out CAM fees, which is common area maintenance fees, they're using a door number to figure that out, or the square footage of the actual entire property. So based upon that number and science and math, they determined that guy's production rate. And if they thought he could do it for that much on that one, he just set the entire production rate and the cost for all the rest. And he couldn't understand that. And the guy came back to him with pricing instead of him coming with pricing. And you can't do that. You should not be lowering your price. Plus, these people don't want to mess around with that, do they, Jim?
No. You know what? Put yourself in their shoes. You got a consistent contractor that's in there, right?
That's right.
That does a great job. He may be a little bit higher, and I hire these people at my own house. They may be a little bit higher than the rest of the guys. I know they're going to show up. I know they're going to do a good job. I know I'm not going to have to call them back and tell them they missed 3 spots here and there. They're going to take care of everything. And when they're done, they're going to call me and they're going to tell me that they're done, and then they're going to bill me that day. What else could they want? They have a lot on their plate. They don't need to worry about your company.
Right.
They don't want problems.
Yeah, Jim brings up a great point here because, what I see in the industry is this is why owner-operators sometimes get stuck forever as owner-operators because I don't know if you want to call it bragging or just telling people on the internet, hey, I got $1,000 a house wash, right? On a typical house. Here's what the problem is. You see what Jim's saying here? And I run the company very similar to Jim. Which way are we pointing? To Jim in the same way. Yeah, the same way. Because you know what? We're very consistent with our pricing. They know they're going to get a good job. It's going to be headache free, like Jim said. I'll send the guys back out if something's wrong. We solve the problem. But the problem in our industry, Ron, as you know, especially you, Ron, is, and the owner operators here to really listen to what I'm saying here. They like to talk how, I took a 2,000 square foot house. I got $1,000 to clean it, and I'm only going out 3 days a week. There's a big problem with that because the problem is referrals. Mm-hmm. So Jim is talking about these property. He's got a shitload of property managers that call his company because they know he's probably a little more expensive than most, but there's no headaches. They go in there, they get the job done, and they can go to the next job. And that's why they'll come back to you every single time because they know you are fair with your numbers. You're fair, maybe, and I'm a little more expensive too with garages, if you can believe it. And that's why I talk about that in my garage. I'm not the most expensive, but they know they're going to get quality work, and they know you're going to take care of the problem. There is a problem. So you got to know your numbers. You don't try to rape, I'm using harsh language. You don't try to screw.
It's no better.
I know I'm politically incorrect. But, I know every time. My wife's listening. She can be like, "What are you talking about rape for?" Well, you know what? But the thing here is when guys brag on a net. We all know that most of them are bullshitting, but you really want to be consistent in your pricing. And Jim's got a model. He's got 20-something employees. He's got to make X amount of dollars an hour. He knows his numbers. So it's going to cost maybe a little more to get Jim's company in there. But the bottom line is there's no headaches. And that's why I've been doing this 25 years. Jim's been doing this a long time. I'm going to do this till I'm 80. We have this thing down to a science, my wife and I. And Jim keeps telling me, John, I'm going to pass my company off. With me and Jim talk about this. I love this. We're so set solid. But I have a small company. Jim's company is about probably 3 times the size of my company. But the real thing is you have to know your numbers. And I'm telling you, and Jim, I told Jim, if we can get Jim into look, we can do Jim on a numbers class. That's where you grow your company if you want to. You can keep it rock steady. You have to know your numbers, and you can't depend on Joe Blow on the internet to say, when you ask him, how do I do this, how much I charge? No.
Well, it's okay to go out into the industry to find out where everybody is on those numbers. I mean, you can raise or lower them as you need, as long as you have your profit in there with your numbers. It may go up to 30%, which is rare, but or could go down to 10 or 5%, depending where you have a profit margin in your company. A lot of guys have higher profit margins because they don't have much overhead.
Well, the owner operator's got the biggest profit margin, but let's look at it this way. I'm 59 years old. I think Jim's like 50. Jim looks like he's 42 or something, but I think you might be close to 50. Ron's over 50. You know,
How would you answer that question, John? You got to. I'm gonna throw a couple of questions. How would you answer that question?
What questions you got?
Can a solo operator go after shopping centers? Go ahead.
Why not?
You're me. Answer it. Go ahead. You did.
Yeah.
You answered it. Go get it.
Yeah, I've done Best Buys, for example, for years. When I was a solo operator, they could do the whole shopping center, but you know what? You could do the whole thing. You got to work your ass off. You know, everybody says work smarter, but not work harder. To get to that point, you got to work your ass off, work hard, and then you can figure the smarter part as you go along. But an owner-operator can do that as long as they're not under restrictions how fast it's got to get done. In parking garages, it's like they say, John, there's 600,000 square feet here. We done Signet, for example, for years in Connecticut. I lost them. I could talk about them. They're a Fortune 90 company. They're like, John, 600,000 square feet. You got to be out in 4 days. Because it's a massive company. We were able to do it. But yes, an owner-operator could do a shopping center long as they fall into the time frame that the property manager that runs that wants.
Or give them the right. I mean, if the store owner or the shopping center, if they're talking with them, just make sure that they know that if it's not going to get done tonight, or if it's going to take 3 nights, as long as they know what you're up against. Because if you tell them no, we can get it done in the first night, and you don't, you'll never get that job again.
That's right. Ever.
Give them the right expectations up front, and you'll be fine.
Hey, Jim Vanhandel gave my company a shopping center. Remember, Jim?
Yeah, up north.
He's so busy. He's got so much work. And he said, John, can you come in here and knock it out in a night, and we'll all be done with it? And yeah, I took my crew. I went out there with them because.
Did I ever pay you? I'm just kidding.
You know what? You owe me interest. Jim paid, you know what? I deal with companies. I'm sure Jim does the same. Net 90. Jim paid me like in 6 days or something. It's like, holy crap.
Listen, if I'm going to hire a subcontractor, they're going to get paid.
Yeah,
I'll wait for the money. It's not to them to be the bank. I hired them. So if they did a great job, they're going to get paid. All my contract, and you know what that does? When I need something, I pick up the phone and I can get it done because they know they're going to get paid.
That's right.
I almost want to mute you guys for this next question and let you answer this thing independently. Here's the old age question. Here it comes. Are you ready? Jim, I want to hear you answer it because I'm curious. I'm interested to know.
Well, depending what my commercial is condos. I call that commercial.
It is commercial.
Okay. Residential or commercial, what's more profitable?
He doesn't want to say.
I can answer that.
This is a two-edged sword because residential, John and I know, you can get cash. On the commercial end, you're going to make more profit in the end. If you get your numbers down right, and you keep rolling these things out over and over and over. I mean, we did almost 140 sites this year already. That's 143 townhome sites. If you can keep rolling those, you can make a lot of profit.
Do you know how many doors? Do you know average? 400 each unit? No.
Per unit? I don't do it that way.
Yeah,
I don't do it that way.
I'm just curious if you knew. I'm just curious because the managers all talk doors. It's all doors.
Not up here, but we actually break that down, and some of them are higher than the others because you got 3-story condos, you got 2-story condos. Some of them don't have
balconies.
Some of you need
3-story doors. The prices are going to go up. I mean, obviously, then 2-story, right? I mean, it's going to go up.
There is no set number, Ron. We're trying to say there's no set number on
I gotta tell you this funny story. Okay, I had to have you answer that, but you answered it a little bit better. Stephen Button had been doing a $780,000 shopping center contract for about 5 years. I go, Stephen, come out and speak in Orlando. We need you to talk about, commercial sales. This question comes up. He goes, stay away from shopping centers. You do not want to do that.
Yeah, he's trying to
I was getting ready for you, Jim, to go, just stay away from condos. There's no money in it.
No, it doesn't matter now. We can't even get to them all. It's going to be too cold before we can get to them all.
I know.
We fill our schedule with them anymore. 90% of my work is all condos now.
Yeah.
The condo king.
He is.
You know, let me answer that question,
We
Ron.
got him right there, the New Jersey condo king.
Right.
Well, Matt Dogsworth, we did not answer your question.
Oh, yeah. Let me answer this question.
I'm going to let you, John, but I'm going to answer it right now. I think that both of them make as much money as the person wants to make, and one guy could have a more profitable residential than commercial, and another guy could have a more profitable commercial. It just all depends how the man's going to run his operation, how efficient he is, because gross dollar amount is not about what you make, what you net, or what you keep when it's all said and done. I know guys that made millions of dollars, and they ask me to borrow lunch money. So, you know, it's really relative to what your operating expenses are and how you run your operation.
Yeah, let me interject on that a second.
But Jim, do you think I'm right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean,
and what happens is in commercial to residential, if you're an owner operator, you love residential. I loved it. Residential, you immediate pay, you can build a nice clientele. But the largest companies in our industry is commercial. The companies that are multi-million dollars and the owners that have these companies that live on the water and stuff like that, it's commercial. Ultimately, in the end, as you grow your company, the real answer is commercials, by far the most profitable for a larger company. For one person, everybody starts, I don't know if Jim, you probably did the same thing. I started residential, but as I grew, and I travel in 4 states now because my biggest profits by far is commercial. So,
well, and John, you're right. We just haven't found a company that has replicated the residential and has 100 rigs like we know exist in commercial. We
won't
have
have
guys that have made $25 million a year, $48 million a year, but none of them are doing that in residential.
Right.
So in the sense that gross dollar amounts, but I'm talking about if you were to match up one rig against another rig, and it's just one-on-one, it's all relative to what the operation and how they're going to run it and the expenses. The reality of it is we just haven't seen a residential guy do something like Stanley Steamer's done in the carpet cleaning industry. I mean, that's a $100 million company. We see Fleet Wash, $100 million company.
Right.
Fleet Wash.
400 million.
But we don't, right, 400 now. But we don't see the guys in residential ever claiming, I mean, what's the biggest residential guy I know? I can't even, it's a couple $1 million, maybe $1.5 million, and I'm not even sure I believe them when they say that. I'm not positive of it.
Yeah, because the problem is, it's not a problem, but the thing is, there's different standards too. We'll do another show on standards from commercial to residential, because residential, you're always dealing with owners. Commercial, you gentlemen don't ever see the owners. At the garages, these are billionaires, right? But the thing here is, on the residential end, it's like cutting grass. If the homeowner really wanted to, he can clean his house. They don't want to do it, but the residential is so many contractors are in that. So in my area, 10 million people living on Long Island, there's probably 1,000 power washers that do residential. So it's very, very competitive. So they really can't be a Fleet Wash or a Jim Vanhandel with the condo complexes, because the condo complex, for example, Jim knows this, they're not going to go out. They can't even hire somebody in their own staff to clean these things. So they need a bigger company, a larger company. So when you start out residential, owner-operator, by far, it's common sense, and net profit is always the highest with residential and the owner-operator. They're going to knock down 60, 70% on net profit by themselves. But when you get a big company and you're knocking down 15% net profit, but you have like Jim does, 20-something guys out there doing it, do the math. And there's your answer.
Well, also,
I'm not knocking residential. I got thousands of customers. So.
If you take, let's split this up, and we'll dive down into it a little bit more, since you brought it up, Ron.
Right.
Well, if you dig down and you really look deep into your numbers, when you have downtime or non-profitable hours, you're going to have way more non-profitable hours in the residential arena than you will the commercial arena. So you're losing profit on the residential end because if they're going to do 5 houses a day, let's say, they have to get in the truck and they drive to each one of them. They're going to
They never talk about that. Never talk about that.
Okay, they're going to stop and they're going to get lunch. You got so much downtime. You're only getting 4 hours out of them, 4.5 hours a day, maybe. So if you really dive down into the numbers for the residential end, the commercial end blows it away because you're going to put those guys, you're going to put 2, 3, 4 crews on a job site.
And they're there.
And you're there all day. There is no downtime. You got lunch breaks.
You'll be there for weeks. Yeah.
So I want to dig down into that a little bit more. So
my contract, we do a town here. It's a famous town, and it's 3 weeks long. So my largest one, it's like $82,000, and my crew's there every night, 21 days, 7 days a week. So it's 3 weeks. That's my largest one because and every night we were able to park the trucks as we're working through a town. The trucks and the trailers are there, and look at Jim. Jim's always the marketeer.
Innovative.
Marketeer. I'm promoting Greg Harris and everybody else.
This sits on every property manager's desk. You think they see it every single day? And all their friends see it too. Anyway, there's a tip.
Good little widget.
Yeah.
It's a great widget. Go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, Ron, I never thought that we've gone from mouse pads to masks.
Yeah.
So I hope guys out there really dive down into their numbers. Find out your expenses. Get those marked down. Find out how many hours a year you work. Put those numbers all together. Divide that down and figure out your numbers. You might be surprised. You might say, "Oh, I want to go make $80 an hour. I'm charging $80 an hour. If I charged $80 an hour, I'd be broke. I couldn't do that. I'm not going to give you my numbers, but you just can't. My expenses are too high."
I went to New Orleans years ago. Ron's been there. When I was at a NOLA event years ago, I met Kevin Dabrowski. He wrote a book, $600 an hour, and everybody laughed at him. Whoa! So I have the book. I since gave it away. I'm friends with Kevin Dabrowski from Canada. And you know what his point was? He's got now. I'm not going to tell you what's legitimate or not because I never vetted him. But he's got multiple window cleaners in Canada, right? So he needs to make $600 an hour, and that was his number. And you know what? People like
for one guy
he can't make 600. What?
For one guy?
No, he had a crew.
Oh.
So I don't know how big his crew was. He wrote a book on this thing. And Jim, we're not going to talk what we need to make an hour, but for example, Jim might make $1,200 an hour, but 80% is going out to pay for everything else. So everybody sets their own numbers. They have to know their own company. And Ron, when we're going to do, Jim, we are going to be in Jersey. I'm going there in November. What?
He's not coming.
I already told Ron.
Jim's going to be, Jim's like a chameleon. Jim's there. The question is, will Jim speak? I think personally, I never did a garage class we did 1,000 miles of my house. But Justin Moore came all the way down to Atlanta or whatever, or Missouri. They came into my class. I'm like, hey, you're here. I'll teach you. But we'll get, one thing Jim could really talk, when Jim sells his company off, whatever he does, got big plans. You know what we could do? Ron, Jim knows his numbers. And numbers is such an important thing because guys, and Ron and I know somebody in Arizona, we're not going to mention names, that had a nice contract, making a lot of money, but, he wasn't making the money he was making when he was out there with 2 or 3 guys. He wasn't making the net. So knowing your numbers is big, and that's a big class. That's very, very important.
We talked about.
Hey guys, hold on a second. We're 45 out, guys. Hey John, you got your cookbook, or did you not bring it tonight?
Yeah, what are you talking about? I got the cookbook.
First guy that calls me wins a cookbook and a closer hat. Rob Robinson, first guy that calls me. My number's right there. Adam Fondren.
What's your number?
Adam Fondren.
Hey, Rob, what's the phone number? I want to know the book.
I got to call your name first, guys. Okay, you Adam or Rob Robinson?
Yeah.
Adam or Rob Robinson?
All right, Ron, it's John Tornabene. How are you? Did I win?
Who do I got? Oh, didn't call your name, Brandon. Got to call your name.
Yeah, I see that. Listen, I see that, Jim.
Keep listening.
Hey, Jim.
You got Adam or Rob Robinson?
Hey, Jim, look. Who am I voting for? One guess, and you win a book.
When I call your name, you call it in. Be the first caller.
You're voting for.
So
you're going to be voting for everybody.
All about this one.
O'Reilly, Jace Boatwright, Denver Clausen, Joshua Herod. That's all I'm going to do. That's it for tonight. Those guys, I'm going to reread them again. Joshua Herson, Denver Clausen, Janelle Riley Thomas, Jace Boatwright, Adam Fondren, and Rob Robinson. Any one of those guys tonight calls me first, they're going to win a F9 cookbook and a closer hat.
Did you mention Jim Vanhandel? I heard Jim Vanhandel.
What do you got there, Jim?
These are books for property managers to write in.
Awesome.
I think I put my name on it.
Do you give them quotes and stuff too, or not? No.
Jim's going to be in Jersey.
Not on those. No, we give them professional quotes.
No, I'm saying quotes like motivational quotes.
Oh, not on those. No. Not yet. Good. Maybe this year will.
So, Jim, I'm going to ask you this question. Sometimes you'll go out there and you'll say, I've seen the things. Ron Musgraves has made me millions of dollars. How in the hell did I make you millions of dollars?
There's a list. I listen to you. I've listened to you for years, and I've taken little bits and pieces of it and put it all together. Guess what? It works. It's like a ladder all the way up to the top. So sales, motivation, all kind of stuff. I can't even explain where to start.
Did your sales guy that I used to talk to and coach a little bit, is he still with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's 10 years been with me.
Tell me something that he brought when he talked to me that he actually put into play. I know you got to remember something that he did.
Oh. I've got a brain fart right now. I really do. He does so many things, and he talks about you at least once a week. He knew I was coming on here, and he wanted to come on. And I said,
man, next time, just bring him on. You just got to coach him not what to certain things not to say.
If you think I won't say it, he would be him and I together at a convention, I think would knock it out of the park. That guy he's a rock star. He's phenomenal. He knows the ins and outs. He's taken stuff from Ron and just put it he doesn't even question, puts it into place, and it just goes up this way. Sales, and it just does it. He'll listen to Ron. Actually, he grabs my phone once in a while and he listens to some stuff Ron talks about. Or I will, if I think it's going to help him do something better, I will let him listen to it here and there. So
he's one of your employees, right, Jim? And
yeah.
What is the most valuable asset to a successful company? What is it?
Finding the right people to do the right jobs.
The employees.
Talked about it at the beginning. Remember, John? That is it took me 11 years. It took James 6, and a lot.
Probably.
And if guys are listening,
9-10 years. 9-10 years.
You cannot do it all yourself.
No.
That's why you hire an accountant, right? You hire people to fix your cars. You hire professionals to do this. You pick up and you hire professionals to do certain things in your company.
Right.
If Yes, it's expensive.
But it's more than just delegating. It's the ability to
train,
recognize, and you know, here's the funniest thing. Elon Musk, they all say it. The training from within winds up being your best people.
Yes.
Right. That's why I got the large. That's why I got the large screen TV behind me over there. I could put Ron Musgraves on that.
I found this out. There was a gal, was my general manager. Her name was Nicole McHugh. And we really didn't like each other. Is that something? We didn't like each other. But, man, she was good. She was good. And she really put things together for me at about 8.5 years. She was like, she came on board, and she was like, man, this is a mess. And she straightened everything out. And then she began the process of building the descriptions for all of the different positions, and then saying, okay, now we have to really fill this up, and we're going to have none of this stuff. One of the biggest assets she gave me was she stopped the cross training. She stopped the cross training, Jim. We had a guy, this was his job, this is what he did. We had another guy, this was his job, this is what he did. They got more money for their positions, and they could learn the other positions and move up the ladder when it was time. If the other guy moved up, the other guy could move up and do the other job. But when we were on the ball field, everybody did their job. That's all they did. They didn't try to do more or less. They just maintained and did their job.
So I had an interesting thing happen this year, which was just the opposite. Now, we promoted from within. We had an employee with us for about 4 years, and we sat down with him. We thought he would be a great operations manager for all the crews. He was in the position. He took the position. He was excited about the position. He took the position, and he ran it for a year. He did okay. He needed some training. And this year he came to me and he said, this isn't really working. I don't really want to be operations manager. I want to go back to be crew leader. I want to go back on a crew.
Right.
I'm going, well, all right, let's talk about this. We talked about it. I want people to be happy in what they do in my company.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Because if I just told Dan, suck it up, it's nothing, you'll get to it, whatever, he'll quit. So he didn't quit, and he's back on a crew, loving it. He's doing a great job. He actually trains some new guys out in the field. That's what we'll do. We'll pick. If I see somebody in my company that's not doing well or not happy, I'll pull them out. I'll pull them to the side and say, where would you fit? Where you feel you fit better in my company, this company? If they say not here at all, that never happened, but then, that's it. But we move them around in here as we see fit, which I think you have to do to grow. You can't grow without the right people there.
Right.
And you have to rely on those people 100%, because you can't be there with a company this size. I can't be on every job site. It's impossible. I can't be looking over every invoice. It's impossible. Right. So that I would tell guys, if you find good people, keep them. Okay. And find out where they would fit in your company and put them there. Just put them there. And your company will start to grow.
Yeah, I look at that as when you get to look, my employees are not my friends. We keep everything professional. I used to hire my friends. I go to Florida with them every year, but I just bought my own place. But I keep everything professional here. But the one thing I found out was, probably talking to people like Jim and whatnot, and Ron, of course, is you got to find people's strengths. And like Jim just said, the guy, he ended up wanting to be out in the field, and he could be like a lead tech. And some people are born salesmen. Some people are trained to be salespeople. Some people are good in the office. Me, I was always good out in the field. Me and my wife joke about this because, Robert Hill and I always called me General Patton. General Patton's in the field. But I always tell Robert, I said, my wife is General Eisenhower, who actually outranked General Patton. But I like to be down. I want to be in there. I want to be in the nitty gritty. I want to be where the fight is. That's where I excel at. But now we have people in place, and Jim's right. It's really got to find their strengths out. To what works best for them. What makes them happy? What makes them feel like they?
And you can pay somebody as much as you want to pay them, or overpay them. They're still not going to be happy.
Right.
I have a second part to this question, and I think that I have a second question. Let's see if James will answer this one. Go ahead, James. You what do you got?
What question?
Hey, what's the question?
All HOAs and apartments. That's
what is it?
Asking. I would say all HOAs or apartments. What are you doing? Are you doing HOAs, apartments, just HOAs? What do you?
We're doing it all. We do it all.
So apartments,
condo complexes,
townhome communities.
So let me ask you this one: is one of those easier or more profitable or more difficult?
When I price things out, I don't care if it takes me a day or 5 days. It's all the same number. So a day's a day. I don't care if I'm watching an apartment complex.
But do you find out? Let me rephrase that. Is it easier to sell one or the other? Not washing per se.
Yes.
Does one of them sell easier than the other?
Yes. HOL sell easier. And the reason for that is apartment complexes usually have their own people to do their own work. So you have to kill yourself to try to sell an apartment complex over an HOA.
Hey, you know what? You know why? I'm going to tell them. Maybe you didn't want me to tell them, but I'm going to tell them why they sell easier. Okay? Jim doesn't want me to tell them. You know what? We'll leave. We'll tell. We ain't gonna. You know what? We're gonna leave that for the next show. Why HOA will sell?
This ain't brain surgery. But
no, know why though. And then We're gonna leave this question. This is where Jim. We're gonna be going. We're at 57 minutes. We're gonna let you. We're gonna finish up with Jim here. We're gonna leave that an open question for the next time we're together. We're gonna leave it out there, and everybody's gonna think. Maybe somebody will answer it in the queue. But why is it that HOAs are selling easier than apartment complexes? And you're right. It's not rocket science if they understand what the differences are. But let's let the guys out there that are new and some of the even older guys, let's let them think about it for a while. And I'll tell John because he looks perplexed. I'll let him. We'll tell him after the
I know the answer, right? I'm not going to burst the bubble.
Hey, James, man, it was really cool having you on tonight. Hey, John,
this is great.
You want to say anything to James before we let him go and then finish up the show?
Yeah, I want to close it out with, I know Jim for a long time. We're good friends. We talk probably 5-6 days a week. We keep in touch with each other. Stay in contact with people you trust. People they know what the hell they're talking about, because I'm telling you, on the Facebook, 90% of the people have no clue. And that's why I go to industry events, conventions, roundtables, because I meet people like James and Ron, and that's really important. But I'm going to close it out with my garage class. I was telling Ron earlier tonight, we're about 35 people in there. When I hit 40, I have to talk to Craig Harrison. We're probably going to take the ballroom. Phoenix is 75 degrees that time of year. It's a great time. I give up a lot of my secrets. I'm okay because I have set contracts and stuff in place. And I don't want to teach people what I know. I don't do it in my backyard. I'll probably do it in Atlantic City next year. But I got set stuff. I have a nice company. We're solid. We have thousands of customers. But the one thing I can recommend for anybody listening to this, I'm a big person in vetting people. Vegas, I didn't vet somebody years ago. I paid a price for that. But now I vet everybody. And I know James for a long time. He's definitely the real deal, as is Ron.
He's the real deal, man. There's no doubt.
The king commercial sales is Ron. And I got that from Patrick Clark. I knew Ron was a king commercial sales when I first met him. The guy was selling me probably what kind of toilet paper to buy for the shop way back when. But, you gotta really do your own due diligence to find out what's out there. And on this group tonight, we're all here, and we all are, the real deal. And you got to find them. And the only way you're going to find them is you got to go to these events, conventions, and roundtables. Sit there, go by the bar, talk to them, and you get the vibe. Because you bullshit artists, Facebook, the keyboard cowboys, I can say anything. But when you meet them in person, I can name a lot of names. I won't. You find out they're all full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about, and you get the bad feeling. So tonight was a great show, Ron, Jim. Really appreciate
it.
The show.
Thanks for having me. Really.
Oh,
Give us some final words, James, before we let you go out. What do you got to say?
Well, I hope next year's a really good year, just as good as it was this year. I hope all the guys still had a good year with all this COVID stuff. It didn't stop us from washing. Hope it didn't stop you guys. Keep your head down. Look into your numbers. Get those numbers down to where you know they are, so you can go out there and give a daily rate if you have to, and you will make a profit. So keep those numbers.
That's awesome. Hey guys, we loved having James on tonight. James Vanhandel, guys, innovative, the New Jersey Condo King. Thanks for coming on board tonight, man. We appreciate it. Have a great night, James.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Great show, Jim.
Hey, John, we got how many guys here now, man? We got 35 guys at this garage cleaning event. After you get off the show tonight, you're gonna have how many more?
We probably have thousands.
What a great guest James was, man. We got to have him back. And the other thing is, that question, do not let, if you know the answer, do not let the cat out of the bag on that, man. Do not, because there's a lot of guys who be knocking themselves out. We left that one with a little suspense. Guys out there will be thinking about, why is it that HOAs are better? Why is it that commercial retail real estate is better than other real estate do? These guys don't understand that the business side of this, of the washing, they really got to understand it. They got to start understanding their customers. A lot of guys out there, when you call me the king of commercial sales, really what it's about is knowing your customer. You got to know your customer, what they're thinking, and almost put yourself in their shoes, and then you know what they want. You're going to automatically know how to fulfill those needs and how to get to those numbers. Because James was talking about it, and it was funny because when he said they don't ask him for a price anymore because the production rate's already there. It's their budgets from one complex to another complex are the mathematical equation already plugs in, and they know that James is going to come in around that ballpark. And if he doesn't, I'm sure they're going to talk to him about it. And it probably hasn't happened. We didn't talk about this, but I know he's run into managers that say, hey, we got a property under a little distress. What can we do here? Do we have to do less work? I got to make this budget work. Well, then James is going to say, yeah, we got to do less work, but we got to increase the budget. That is the key in this sales game. And I'm going to tell you something, John. When we get to Phoenix and we talk to these guys about garage cleaning sales, one, we're going to give them who they need to go after, how they're going to get to that contact. Two, we're going to give them a bulletproof. I'm going to give them a bulletproof on how they're going to be able to come up and determine the pricing based upon the garage, based upon the scope. They're going to have everything. When they leave there, they're going to know not only from you, but they're going to know from me how to bid these things. And once you know those numbers, you know as well as I do, John, it's about being a competitive bidder, being able to perform and do the garage. You said it. Sometimes some bonehead will get the garage for 1/3 the price or half the price. The customer comes back. They do every time. When they find out the guy can't perform for that price, they wind up coming back, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to be in Phoenix the 14th. They want me I'm going to be there like the 12th, but my stupid state wants me to quarantine. I have to go to court, Ron. I have all these I have to take care of this shit with DOT.
John, why don't you drive to Pennsylvania and fly to Pennsylvania, man?
Yeah, well, I'll work out. I'm not worried about it, but I'm going to deal with all this stuff. But check this out. Want to hear a good class? I'm going to get Jim Vanhandel to come to this thing. I was going to go to Atlantic City in November. I'm probably going to go I'm going to Florida Keys in December. But before I go there, I am going to go to the Tropicana Hotel I'm going to make sure I'm probably there on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We should do, and I'll bring my Jesus Christ. I'll bring my my camera thing, and we'll do another Wednesdays there. And I'm going to show the hotel, and we'll get Jim Vanhandel back on. So I'll walk around because Jim Vanhandel literally lives like an hour from there. I'll walk around, show the ocean, show the hotel. This is where me and Ron are going, and we'll get Jim on the show. And Jim's going to sign on like this.
After we get off this show, we are going to be bombarded by people wanting us to have James teach a paid class on this in New Jersey. I guarantee it. I don't know if he will, but I guarantee you that people are going to want to. Somebody that's as successful as him doing this, and this goes back to we were talking about what's more profitable, residential or commercial. Here we go. We know hood guys doing 48 million. We know bus stop cleaners doing 7 million. We now know James doing whatever he's doing with 7 units, can run 9 units, whatever number he's doing. I'm going to guess for the peanut gallery, he's 250, 240 something per unit. That's just a guess. So, and he's never going to tell us that number probably, but hey.
I know a lot about Jim. He ain't going to tell you his numbers. Me and Jim competed on the same jobs. He got eliminated on one of these at Rutgers University. Got eliminated early.
That's it.
I have all kinds of stuff, but he's got a really good company. And what I want to do, Ron, we'll do it maybe in December because I'm taking my kids to. I'm driving to Florida with my extra car, and my kids are going to fly down, and then we're going to go to the Keys. But somewhere in that time frame, I'm going to go to the Tropicana. That's going to be a big.
We'll get it done. Hey, John, close these guys out. Say the final words. I'm going to hit the button. Take us out, John.
Are we live?
We are live. Hit the button.
Oh, we're live. John,
you're here. Look, what are you saying? Phoenix, 14th. Get signed up. Clean County. You're going to put the link in here. If you want to join the garage cleaning class, get on there.
Absolutely. Get on there. And, Jim makes a lot more than what I said. I didn't know it was live. He makes a lot. We just tell you.
Stay in the green room, Johnny. I'm going to end it right now, guys.
Okay.
Hey, don't forget Craig Harrison's event, F9. It's on the 13th and 14th before John's class. It's free. Go to F9 Restorations. Get signed up for it. There's 107 people as of today. 107, guys. Looking forward to it. Have a lot of fun. Good night, John. Great course tonight.
All right, Ron. You got it.